A stock market crash is a gift. I said it. And before you close this video thinking I've lost my mind, hear me out. I've been doing this for 25 years, and the biggest wealth-building moments of my career did not happen during good times. They happened when everyone else was running for the exits. Right now, or whenever you're watching this, the market is doing what markets do, bleeding. Red numbers everywhere. News anchors throwing around words like crash, crisis, and my personal favorite, bloodbath. I love that one. Very dramatic, very cinematic, extremely useful for selling advertising. But here's what nobody tells you. The people quietly becoming wealthy during those moments aren't on television. They aren't panicking, they're shopping. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at a market crash the same way again. Today, we're going to cover 4 things. First, why a crash feels like a disaster, but functions like a discount. I'll show you the math so clearly that the next time the market drops, you may actually feel a little excitement. Second, why most people miss this opportunity every single time. Not because they're stupid, but because of something far more dangerous. Third, what I personally did during market crashes. The real version, not the hero version where I did everything perfectly. And fourth, a simple framework for someone starting from absolute zero. No experience, no portfolio, no confidence. Let's get into it. Part 1. Why a crash is a discount. Simple question. If your favorite restaurant, the one you visit every birthday and anniversary, suddenly offered everything on the menu at 50% off, would you stop going? Of course not. You'd call everyone you know and say, get over here right now. Now imagine the exact same restaurant, same food, same quality. But instead of a discount sign, there's a news crew outside saying, local restaurant in crisis, prices collapse. What this means for the future of dining. Suddenly, it doesn't feel like an opportunity. It feels like a problem. That is exactly what happens during a stock market crash. Nothing fundamental has changed. Apple still sells iPhones. People still drink Coca-Cola. Amazon still delivers packages faster than most of us can wait. The companies are still operating. Only the price tags changed and people panic. Let's make this real. The S&P 500, the index tracking America's largest companies, has experienced roughly a dozen major declines of 20% or more over the last 40 years. Every single time, without exception, it recovered. And not only recovered, it eventually moved above its previous highs. Every single time. Historically speaking, a crash is not the end of the story. It's an intermission. An uncomfortable intermission that feels like the end of the world, but isn't. There's a famous quote from Warren Buffett that I've repeated for years. Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. Simple, elegant, and almost impossible to follow in real life. Which brings us to the next section. Part 2. Why most people miss it. This is the part I really want you to pay attention to. Because the answer is not stupidity. Some of the smartest people I've ever known completely fell apart during market crashes. They sold at the bottom, locked in losses, walked away. The real reason is pain. When your portfolio drops 30% and you watch red numbers flashing across a screen, your brain struggles to distinguish financial loss from physical danger. The same part of your brain that once helped your ancestors run from predators now screams, sell everything. It's not logical, it's biological. We were built for survival on a savanna, not for managing investment portfolios. I had a client call me during the COVID crash of March 2020. Everything was falling apart. He said, Nihat, I need to sell. I can't watch this anymore. I asked him, what are you going to sell and then what? He said, I don't know, cash, under the mattress, anywhere but here. So I asked one more question. 5 years from now, do you still believe people will buy things, use technology, and live their lives? Silence. Then, yes. I said, then you don't have a market problem, you have an emotional problem. He didn't sell. 2 years later, his portfolio had not only recovered, it was performing better than ever. Now consider the people who sold. Many moved to cash and waited. By the time they finally felt safe enough to return, prices had already recovered. They successfully sold low and bought high. That is one of the most expensive emotional mistakes in personal finance. And it happens during every crash, without exception. Part 3. What I actually did. I need to be honest with you. During my first major crash, I froze completely. I didn't sell, but I didn't buy either. I simply stared at the screen like someone watching a car accident. Not helpful, not productive, just frozen. The second time, I started recognizing the pattern. I bought a little, not confidently, nervously, but I bought. By the third crash, I had a system, and systems change everything. Here's what mine looked like. When the market fell 10%, I reviewed my watch list. Companies I had already researched. Quality businesses, not random stock tips, not rumors from someone's cousin. When the market fell 20%, I started opening positions, small, measured, never all at once. When markets dropped 30% or more, I became more aggressive, because historically, declines of that size are usually temporary, not permanent. And throughout all of it, I stopped consuming financial news seriously. During crashes, I almost completely ignore it. The information I need is found in financial statements and business fundamentals, not in dramatic headlines. Part 4. Starting from zero. Maybe you're watching this thinking, that's great, Nihat, but I don't have a portfolio. Perfect. That's exactly where many people start. Step 1. Never invest money you'll need within the next 12 months. Emergency savings are not investment capital. Mixing those two is how people get forced to sell at the worst possible time. Step 2. Learn before you buy. Even 1 month of learning matters. Understand valuation basics. Learn what an index fund is. Learn what dividends are. You don't need expert-level knowledge, just enough to avoid flying blind. Step 3. Start boring. A broad market index fund is where many people should begin. Simple, diversified, historically reliable, boring, and powerful. Step 4. Keep investing during downturns, not all at once, consistently, over time. This is called dollar cost averaging. Invest the same amount regularly, regardless of market conditions. When prices are high, you buy fewer shares. When prices are low, you buy more. Over time, the math works in your favor. That's the framework. Not complicated, not glamorous, just consistent. And consistency beats excitement almost every time. My friends, here's my takeaway. Every crash in history felt permanent. While it was happening, everyone. And so far, everyone recovered and eventually moved higher. The people who built real wealth through the markets didn't do it by predicting the future. They did it by staying in the game while everyone else ran away, by seeing panic as a discount sign, by separating emotions from decisions, not perfectly, but consistently enough for time and compounding to do the heavy lifting. You do not need to be smarter than the market. You simply need to be calmer than the crowd. So let me ask you, have you ever sold something during a crash and then watched it recover without you? Or are you on team panic sell or team hold and buy more? I already know which team usually ends up with the better retirement account. Take care of yourself and take even better care of your money. I'll see you in the next video.